Hello guys, I welcome you all to my channel. I am Damayanti and today we are going to discuss about basic condition of learning, maturation, fatigue, reinforcement materials, task, organization of materials. Now let's start with our topic. What is basic condition of learning? Learning is influenced by several psychological, physical and environmental conditions. These conditions help learners acquire knowledge, skills, attitudes, and behavior effectively. Proper understanding of these conditions help teachers create a better learning environment and improve students' performance. Now, let's start with our topic meaning of understanding learning. So, we have discussed earlier about learning. Let's quickly recap the concept again. What is learning? Learning is a process through which an individual gain knowledge, skills, habits, attitudes or experience that lead to a relatively permanent change in behavior. Basic conditions of learning are the major condition necessary for effective learnings are maturation, fatigue, reinforcement, learning materials, task, organization of materials. Now quickly see one by one. What is maturation? Maturation refers to the natural growth and developmental of the body and mind that prepares a person for learning new skills and behaviors. It is a biological process that occurs automatically with age and development. According to psychologists, maturation is the unfolding of characteristics potentially present in the individual due to genetic factors. Now, features of maturation. It is natural and biological process. It depends on age and heredity. It occurs in sequence. It cannot be forced before readiness. It is essential for learning many skills. Now, let's come to the next slide, that is role of maturation in learning. Maturation provides readiness for learning. For example, a child learns to walk only after muscular development. Reading and writing requires mental readiness. Emotional maturity helps social learning. Now, what are the educational implications of maturation? Teachers should teach according to the child's developmental level, avoid forcing difficult tasks too early, recognize individual differences in maturity, provide age appropriate learning experience. Now, let's come to next. What is fatigue? Fatigue is the state of tiredness or exhaustion that reduces efficiency and interest in work or learning. It may be physical or mental. Types of fatigue are physical and mental. What is physical fatigue? Physical fatigue occurs due to excessive physical work. For example, tired muscles, body weakness, etc. Mental fatigue occurs due to continuous mental activities. For example, lack of concentration, boredom, irritation, etc. Next is cause of fatigue and symptoms. Causes are long hours of studies, lack of sleep, poor health, monotonous teaching, overwork, stress and anxiety, lack of motivation. Symptoms of fatigues are lack of attention, low learning errors in work, loss of interest, headache and irritation. Now, how to reduce fatigue in classroom? Measures should be taken like provide short-term breaks in between the class, use interesting teaching materials, recreation of games, short-term breaks in between the class, interesting teaching methods, healthy environment, balanced timetable. Now, okay. To avoid lengthy lectures, teachers should use activity based teaching, provide a rest interval, create motivating classroom and atmosphere. Now, let's come to reinforcement. Reinforcement is anything that strengthens or increases the probability of a desired behavior being repeated. It motivates learners to continue learning. Types of reinforcement are positive and negative. Positive reinforcement gives rewards or appreciation after good performance. For example, praise, gifting to children, good marks, certification, etc. Negative reinforcement is a behavioral concept where a desired behavior is strengthened by stopping, moving, removing, or avoiding an unpleasant outcome or stimulus. For example, parents continuously nags their teenager to clean their rooms. Once the teenager cleans the room, the nagging stops, making them more likely to clean up sooner next time. Now let's see one more example. Your car beeps continuously until you buckle your seat belt. Once you put the seat belt on removes the annoying sound, making you more likely to buckle up in the future. Now, what is the importance of reinforcement? Reinforcement builds confidence, it improves classroom behavior and increase motivation of the learner. It encourages participation in the class and strengthen learning. Educational implications of reinforcement are: teachers should appreciate students' effort, reward should be meaningful and fair, encourage creative feedback should be provided, reinforcement should be immediate, meaningful and encourage improvement in the behavior of the student. Now, next is learning materials. Learning materials are the resources and aids used in teaching learning processes to help learners understand concept effectively. Use of learning materials make the class interesting, joyful and concrete understanding. Types of learning materials. Learning materials are printed like textbook, charts, newspaper, worksheet, etc. Audio-visual materials, for example, videos, models, projectors, smart boards, etc. Activity material, for example, science kits, models, maps and laboratory equipments. Some characteristics of good learning materials are simple and clear. Good learning materials are easy for learners to understand without confusion. Attractive and interesting. Learning materials grabs learners' attention and maintain interest. A good learning material is appropriate, which is suitable for the learner's age and mental level. Learning materials are objective oriented, which helps to achieve specific learning goals. Good learning materials are accurate and meaningful, which provides correct and useful information. A good learning materials are well organized, accessible, relevant and motivating. Next comes to task in learning. Tasks are the activities or assignment given to learners to achieve learning objectives. They help learners practice and apply knowledge. Learning tasks improve understanding level of the student and encourage participation. Some characteristics of good tasks are clear and meaningful. Tasks should be clear and meaningful, which means it should be easy to understand and help student to learn something useful. It should be suitable to learner's ability, which should match the student's age and ability level. It should be motivating and interesting so that students keep themselves engaged and activated in the task. Learning tasks should help the students to achieve learning objectives. Learning tasks are challenging but achievable to make students think without being too difficult. Learning tasks are practical, encourage students to participate in the task and think creatively within a time-bound manner. Next is types of task. Types of task are individual task. In individual task, it is a task that is completed by only one student. For example, writing an essay or solving maths problem. Next is group task. Is a task that completed by a group or group of students together. For example, group discussion or science project. Practical task is a task involving hands-on activities or experiments. For example, performing a laboratory experiment. Homework task is a task given to students to complete at home. For example, completing worksheet or preparing notes. Problem solving task is a task that requires thinking and finding solution. For example, solving puzzles or case studies. Creative task is a task that develops imagination and creativity. For example, drawing a poster or writing stories. Project task is a long-term task involving planning, research and presentation. For example, making a model or survey report. Oral task is a task performed by speaking or presenting ideas. For example, speech, debate or storytelling, etc. Writing task is a task completed in written form. For example, writing answers, reports or assignment. Activity-based task is a task where students learn through activities and participation. For example, role play, games or classroom activities. Task is important for the students because it develops thinking capability of the individual. It improves practice and mastery in learning concepts and builds understanding and responsibility of the student. It promotes creativity and participation. Next is organization of material. Organization of material refers to arranging learning content in a logical, systematic and meaningful manner for effective learning. Proper organization of materials reduce confusion during learning. Some principles of organizing materials are simple to complex, which begins with easy concept and gradually moves to difficult ones. Known to unknown, which means it connects new knowledge with previous experience. It is concrete to abstract, which means it starts with real objects before abstract ideas. Whole to part, which means it gives overall understanding about a concept before moving into detailed explanation. Sequential arrangement, for example, content should follow proper order. Next is importance of organization of material. It makes learning easy and systematic. By proper arrangement of learning materials help students to understand the topic easily and improves clearly and build understanding about the topic. It saves time and effort. Students learn faster without much confusion. It helps memory retention. A systematic content is easier to remember for a longer period of time. Organization of material improves teaching effectively, supports better revision and enhance learning outcomes. Next is relationship among condition of learning. All the conditions of learning are connected with one another and together they help in effective learning. Maturation gives readiness to learn new skills, concept without any topic. Reinforcement motivates learners and encourage correct behavior. Learning materials help students understand concept clearly and easily. Tasks provide practice and improve knowledge and skills. Proper organization of material present content in a logical systematic way. Reduce fatigue helps learners stay active, attentive and interested in learning. When all these conditions work together properly, learning becomes more effective, meaningful and successful. Last but not the least is the conclusion. Effective learning depends on several important conditions such as maturation, fatigue, reinforcement, suitable materials, meaningful tasks, and proper organization of learning content. Teachers must understand these conditions to create a healthy and supportive classroom environment. When these conditions are properly fulfilled, learning becomes easier, interesting, and more successful for the student. Thank you all. If you like my video, then do like, share and subscribe to my channel.